Okay, this auger's pretty old. It's got to be 8 or 9 years old now. I don't remember exactly. And this has been superseded by a new model from Harbor Freight. And it has a different model number, different handles. So this older one, I don't use it a lot. I might use it a couple of times a year in the summer at the most. But in the winter, we use it a lot for ice fishing. So it attaches, it's got a 22 millimeter shaft that comes out the bottom. Fits this 22 millimeter auger. And this is an 8-inch. And it's done fine. It's drilled holes for us for 8 years of ice fishing. And sometimes we'll drill, at least 6-8 holes per trip. And sometimes, I don't think we drilled more than 20 holes with it at a time though. The pull start broke off. And so now I just use this drill to start it. So I don't know if I can do that with one hand or not, but I'll try to. I almost took this to the recycling center or to the secondhand store just to get rid of it because I was having problems with it running. Last time we took it ice fishing, it would run for about a minute and then it would quit running. We'd let it sit and then it would run for a while. So I don't know what was wrong with the jetting or the carburetor. I've had the carburetor apart several times and I probably screwed it up messing with it. I finally just decided, well, maybe I get a new carburetor for it. Sure enough, Amazon shipped $11, carburetor, new fuel lines, new rubber gasket right here, which was old and rotten and leaking, new fuel filters, new primer bulb, of course, extra replacement primer bulbs, and it was a direct bolt-on. And so I put True Fuel in it from Tractor Supply. It's the VP Racing 50-to-1, which I know is not the right ratio for their recommendations, but it is synthetic, so I'm not too worried. I think they recommend 32-to-1. I may be mistaken, but 50-to-1's a little light on the oil for their for Harbor Freight's recommendations, but it is synthetic, so I'm not worried. I did not put the new plug in it that came with this $11 kit. I mean, $11 for a carburetor, and I was just shocked because it started right up, it idles, it runs fine. I should have done this 2 or 3 years ago when I started having problems with the carburetor not working right. Instead of just jacking with myself, should have just bought the kit for $11 and put it on. So this one supposedly fits the new Earthquake model, this carburetor does. I'm just putting this video out because some of you that might have this old Harbor Freight, the engine's fine, the spark plugs, the top of the piston looks fine. There's just a tiny bit of carbon on it. I took the exhaust off. It looks fine. There's no carbon buildup in it. There's no screen on it. The piston moves up and down fine. The rings look fine. I haven't taken it apart to look at the cylinder wall, but I don't have that many hours on it, so I'm not too worried about the engine. It was just it was either fuel or air mixture that was making it run poorly, because the plug is always burned fine. It's got this nice light brown tint to it, and so at this cold altitude, though, this may or may not be a great idea for the gear oil. Instead of putting gear oil in it like they recommend, I drained that out and put some 1030 synthetic in it that I have just sitting around. I'm not using it in any of my cars anymore. So I put 1030 in the gearbox, and I think that'll perform a little better when it's 0 degrees or, 5 degrees above zero, below freezing when we're ice fishing sometimes, and that oil gets thick. And I think it'll run a little better with that. And that 1030 is going to stay thicker anyway. So it hasn't leaked out the bottom seal yet. Down here, I was worried that it would be too thin and it would start leaking out that seal, but it hasn't yet. So that's what I'm trying right now. Let me just see if I can do this one-handed. So I had it running a minute ago. It's a little bit warm. I'll still put the choke on. And let's see if this is going to work. So this is a 14 millimeter bolt. Sorry about all the movement. I'm trying to do this with one hand. This is what this looks like, okay? I'm just using the drill on high speed. And let's see if it starts. That's the only issue, is sometimes that'll fall out. Yeah, I can get a pull cord for it, a replacement pull cord, but I'd rather use the drill than be jerking on this thing trying to get it to start. Okay, so we were talking about buying a $400 or $500 electric auger, but I think if I can get some more life out of this, then I will. It's pretty awesome. And that oil seems to be staying in place nicely. Yeah, good.